I 3D printed 20 D&D hero models, and we're gonna let the dice decide how I paint them. Hello everybody, my name is Greg, and this is Plus One to Hit. And today is super exciting because we're going to be starting a little creative project that I've had brewing in the back of my mind for quite some time now. I'm a big fan of collecting, building, and painting miniatures. I like to collect armies that I can play games of Warhammer with, as well as using miniatures to represent the heroes and monsters in my D&D campaigns. It's all very exciting and creative, but once it's time to actually sit down and paint them, things can kind of start to slow down. I'm a little busy today. I'm not really feeling creative right now. It's gonna take me too long and I don't think I'm gonna be very good at it. But those excuses stop today. Another hobby of mine that goes hand in hand with this is 3D printing. It might be a little confusing and hard to understand at first, but it's getting easier to learn and more accessible by the month. 3D printing is mainly how I source my D&D miniatures, since there's so many creators out there making awesome files for me to print. And a creator that I've been following since the very start is Titan Forge Miniatures. They're not sponsoring this video in any way, I just really like the stuff they make, especially their Titans of Adventure character line. It's a collection of fantastic D&D themed character models with all the races and classes that are present in the game. I wanted to print myself a bunch of these, but deep down I kind of knew that if I did, I would end back up in this creative cycle of not feeling motivated to paint, and they would just end up in a box somewhere, never to be actually used. So I came up with a little plan to motivate myself to paint these miniatures. And it all comes down to the roll of a dice. That's right, we're letting fate decide the colors and designs I have to use on these miniatures. But how do we let dice decide all that? Let's go over the rules for this challenge. I 3D printed 20 of the coolest looking miniatures from this collection, and then we're going to assign each of these models a number 1 through 20. Afterwards, I'm going to put a selection of 20 D20 dice into a bag. The challenge is that I have to reach into the bag and pull out one dice at random. I'm then going to roll the dice, and whatever number comes up, I have to find the associated miniature. I then have to paint that miniature to match the colors and designs of the dice I use to roll its number. Is the dice green with yellow numbers on it? Then regardless of the miniature I pulled, its class or race, I have to heavily incorporate the colors of green and yellow. Perhaps a transparent red dice. Then I have to incorporate red with maybe some glowing effects in there. The model doesn't have to look exactly identical to the dice, it just has to be heavily inspired by the design and color of it, so that at a glance you can tell that the miniature and the dice are a pair. I think this will be a really cool way to motivate myself to actually paint these heroes. For me personally, I find it very easy when I'm painting models to fall into the same patterns of familiarity. I like my plate armor nice and shiny with golden buckles affixing it and a nice blue cape. But as such, most of the models I paint with those features all kind of end up looking the same. But now that I have to base the entire color scheme off of the dice that was pulled, it's gonna force me to try out some new schemes and colors. I'm gonna have to learn some new techniques and learn to think outside of the box to make these match. And if you've never painted a model before, maybe this will inspire you to try. I'll be recording the whole painting process from start to finish so that you can see my creative process. I'm by no means a professional studio painter, but hopefully you might be able to learn some tricks and give this a shot yourself. Now, how about we go take a look at each of the 20 heroes that are going to be participating in this challenge. I printed all of these models on my Elegoo Mars 3 printer. I personally feel like it's an awesome little printer and it's a great entry point for people getting into the hobby of 3D printing. And the resin that I used is Vulcan resin from Atlas 3D. I really like this brand of resin. It captures detail really well and it's super durable so that the models don't break or shatter as easily. I'm not going to go into the specifics of my 3D printing because I really didn't do anything special to make these guys. So, why don't we go in and take a look and meet our 20 heroes. Well, there you have it. 20 heroes all ready to go to start this challenge. I've had the idea to do this challenge for a while, so I'm really happy to actually be starting it now. Please subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up with this challenge and be notified when the first video goes up. We're going to be picking out our first dice and rolling it to get our first miniature of the challenge, so you don't want to miss it. As always, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. I hope you're excited. And again, all the comments and support you've been showing me has been awesome lately, so thank you so much. My name is Greg, and this has been Plus One to Hit.